Welcome to the Daily Influence, where our mission is to deliver a daily dose of positive influence that can uplift you personally or be shared within your sphere of influence. While not every episode may directly apply to your unique circumstances, we strive to provide insights and inspiration relevant to most people's daily, weekly, and monthly lives. Whether you are tuning in during the morning, noon, or night, the Daily Influence is here for you. Listen, share, and embrace the power of influence in your life. Hey everybody, Brian Smith here with the I and Team series and the Daily Influence, and we are going to continue in our pitfalls and the pitfalls of leadership, the pitfalls of responsibility. And one of the pitfalls that we have in leadership is delegation, and I am the one person who I think can speak to this as well as anybody does, because I say to my team often, I delegate to a fault. We have an amazing organization here, and I place a lot of trust into our team. We hire people, and I feel like we set expectations fairly well, though we could do better. One of the assumptions from yesterday is that we could do that. I think we set ourselves up sometimes to fail through assuming that people know what we want them to do, and then we delegate to them. And when we do that, we create some very big assumptions, and we create some very big pitfalls for us as leaders. And the downfall of delegation is when we haven't prepared our team to be delegated to. We elevate them in words, we elevate them in what we say to them and what we imply that we're going to do for them and the trust that we're going to give to them. But then when we delegate, we go back and micromanage. And that erodes at their confidence. It erodes at their feeling of their self-worth that they have in your area of influence in the organization. It erodes in how they feel you feel about them, which is all important in our organizational cultures. When we delegate without actually empowering people and allowing them to do what we think and know they are good at, then we should give them the freedom to do that. If we don't know if somebody is talented enough or has the right mindset or the right technical skills to do something, we should not delegate to them. We do this often, and we set ourselves up and them for failure. We put ourselves and them at risk. We risk damaging our culture by delegating to people who aren't ready to be delegated to certain tasks. We set lofty expectations that can't be followed through on. Delegation is a slippery slope, because if we delegate and people aren't ready and we just say, well, through this delegation and this experience, they will learn and be ready. But then when they fail, we don't hold ourselves accountable for the consequences. That's another pitfall of delegation, is that oftentimes a leader will delegate knowing that somebody isn't ready, but then when something doesn't go the right way, they don't want to take responsibility for it. You can't do that as a leader. A responsible leader will delegate, and if they delegate something to somebody who isn't quite ready, that leader should take responsibility for anything that isn't met, any expectation that's not met. If you knowingly delegate to somebody who doesn't have all of the information, that you haven't been specific to, that you haven't given proper measurements to, that you didn't ask if they were ready or if they understood clearly, then you own what you get back from that. And if they rise to the occasion, and despite maybe not being ready, and you know they're not ready, and they succeed, you have to reinforce that. Unpack the lessons that were learned through that delegation. Make sure that whatever expectation you had in the teaching of delegation and what you hope was learned through that delegation, unpack that back and understand what that delegation did for you in your organization and how you might compound that and use it going forward. It's all part of understanding smart management in your organization and what you can do with delegation and avoiding turning delegation into a pitfall. And when you do fall into the pit and delegation fails, unpack it objectively, unpack it without emotion, and learn from it, not just from yourself and how you delegated improperly, but how that person handled it. And be honest with them if you set them up to fail. Use the pitfalls that you fall into as an opportunity to have lessons on both sides. And hopefully, when they learn from that lesson, if it gets time for them to delegate, they will learn these pitfalls themselves and they will delegate more efficiently and more effectively. And the delegation that they employ will be a positive influence on the organization and on themselves. Don't allow delegation to be a pitfall for you. Embrace it, learn from it, use it properly. Be responsible for your delegation, expect responsibility, but make sure that you set people up to understand what that means so that the expectations on both sides are good. I look forward to talking again tomorrow, and where we talk about sweating the small stuff. And we're going to define what that means and how sweating the small stuff can be a pitfall for you. I hope you have a great afternoon.